Welcome to Dog Moms Do Business,
The podcast where two lifelong friends find sisterhood in business, life, and being crazy millennial dog moms.
We're your hosts, Ellen Broen
And Jasmine Jonte.
And today's episode is all about
My wedding!
Yay! It happened!
It happened. We did it.
You did it. It was glorious.
Thanks.
Beautiful.
Appreciate it.
Perfectly planned.
Yes, it was.
I'm just going to lay on the words of affirmation.
That's right. Brad did a good job yesterday. We got home yesterday and I was sitting on the couch. We were getting ready to watch a movie. And he comes over and he's like, I'm just going to praise you for about 3 minutes about the perfect wedding that you planned. And I was like, yes.
I received.
More, please. More, please.
And what did he say? What are his takeaways? Or
I mean, I always try and get him to give me specific compliments, and he never does. But
it was great.
It was, like things like the food was really good. And I want him to be like, oh, that kernel of pink peppercorn on the top of the Togarashi ahi tuna cracker was just, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he's like, it was really classy. It was really elegant. Everything came together. Everybody showed up. Like, it was well organized, and yeah.
I really loved, we can just jump into favorites
Go
about
right
the
ahead.
wedding.
Yeah.
I would say the thing that I really appreciated, because just for background for our listeners, you had an intimate wedding,
Yes.
as they say, where it was 16 people? 18?
I think there was 20, including me and Brad. No, 21, including me and Brad, and then Grace. So
Okay.
Grace was our number 21.
Nice. So small-ish wedding,
Yeah.
and designed to be very inclusive and connected, and like the experience of it was very intimate. And the thing that I really loved, aside from like the day itself of the wedding, was the way that you planned the rehearsal dinner and the brunch at your Airbnb, and had the catering, like private chef sort of situation. Because sometimes those can feel, I don't know, like a whole other event to plan, and a whole other venue, and a whole other everything, and like you're just kind of mingling in a awkward setting. Whereas this was like, we were literally in your home, like where you were staying. It was a gorgeous Airbnb on the water in San Diego. Junie was there, snuggled on her little bed, and like Grace was running around on the floor. So it just felt very homey, but elevated because of the amazing food that you had. So like, and of course the people that you brought together, just like everybody meshed really well. So it just was like, it felt really homey and elevated and connected and intimate and very you, like it felt like you and Brad. And I mean, that carried over of course into the wedding itself, but the wedding itself was also just like so many layers of planning that went in, like the when you put together a rehearsal dinner and the brunch, it's like, let's just all hang out and eat,
Exactly.
Whereas the wedding, of course, there's a lot more to it. But I don't know. What would you say other than the wedding itself, like the week that you spent? What was your favorite?
There was a moment at brunch, I think. Yeah, it was brunch, where it was my immediate family. So my mom, my dad, my brother, my sister-in-law, and then you and Allie. And we were all on the lower deck overlooking the water and just like kind of shooting the shit a little bit,
Big time.
And I just think it's so rare that I have all of my homies just there.
Yeah.
And
Brad and his people were playing live music on the floor above, which was epic.
Yes.
To have like, someone brought over a guitar and they were all just singing and belting and harmonizing and having
playing
fun.
vases as percussion instruments.
Yes. Yes. That was probably my favorite part of the weekend too. Just like sitting in the sunshine on a deck around a table, just talking and reminiscing and chilling.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what about the wedding itself? Like, what would you say you're most proud of?
I'm not sure. I think, not to like toot my own horn, but I really did plan it well.
I was going to say, toot your horn. Like,
I really did. And I said to Brad, I think it was the night of when we got married, or when we got back, I don't know, sometime within the last few days, that like he just needs to recognize this is my process and this is how I do things. And I need to recognize it too. That like I go into, it's my 1-4 in my human design. You know, I go into this like deep research mode. I look at all the options. I check out everything. I like get into every nook and cranny of what this could be. And I just drum up ideas and thoughts and research, and then whoosh, I make a bunch of decisions and like it's done like really quickly. And I think that's what I did here is I just dug into all the research of all the different ways this could go, from do I need a DJ to not? What are the different vendor options I have? How could I do a cake, etc. All these little things, and then just make a bunch of decisions really quickly. It was like a part-time job though for many months. And I thought that having a smaller wedding that, hey, it wouldn't be like that. And that was not the case. I thought that having a smaller wedding, we would save a little bit of money, and like, I don't really know if that was the case. So I think it was, I think I planned it really well. And
I mean, I will go one step further and say like your attention to detail was probably the thing that stood out the most. Like, just to lay it out for the listeners, like we were at a golf course.
Yes.
In the midst of San Diego. So you can see the beach from far away. You can see the mountains. There's rolling green grass, and like, you know, it's a little breezy, ocean breezy, and gorgeous sunny day, thankfully.
Yeah.
And the wedding was outside. The ceremony was outside over like the arch. I guess it was more like a circle.
Yeah.
A flower arch, and, just beautiful.
On a lawn,
like with outdoor chairs, and Gracie was the flower girl. She didn't do much for the flowering. And then Junie was really the flower girl. Like, she was the one that came and introduced
the aisle.
Yeah, introduced your entrance with a very hilarious like sprinkle tinkle.
Girl had to claim her territory. She's
in the middle of the aisle.
This here aisle is my aisle.
Yeah.
And I have got to release my bladder, and that's what I'm going to do right now.
It was, yeah.
And apparently Brad said, that's my girl.
It was hilarious.
And then the first thing he said to me when I got up the aisle was, Judy peed in the aisle.
Yeah.
And I was like,
that's
girl.
my girl. Yes.
So,
yes.
Yeah.
And yeah, your ceremony was like the perfect length. It was probably under, I don't know, like 20, 30 minutes.
It was
something
23
like that.
minutes. I think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Your vows and everything said was clearly like custom set to like what you wanted to be said in that atmosphere at your wedding and your vows and all of that. You cried.
I did.
Obviously Brad cried, but like you cried, which was like not as expected during your vows, which was amazing. And had a little happy hour while your pictures were being taken. Then one of those, I love the long one table, like
yes, farm table
reception thing. I love that so much. Very family table vibes. And of course the table settings were immaculate, and we had the DJ like putting on some tunes, and you had your like, what is it called? Like the select mocktail, like the custom mocktail. We had,
yes, our signature mocktail was the juniper julep. It was ginger ale, lime, and mint.
Favorite drink.
Which is like, I love
good.
that. And then it was great because apparently everybody kind of put a different mixer in there.
Exactly.
Some people had gin, some people had vodka, some people had tequila. And I was like, oh, I didn't plan it for that. That's what I like. So
it goes well with so many things. Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, oh, okay, good. That works out well. So,
perfect.
Yeah.
Yep. And we had a delicious meal and the cake. So I was talking about attention to detail. So the details that stood out. So first of all, the custom script. Like we also wrote a custom script for our thing, and I think it really makes a difference to like set the tone of everything that's said by your official, or what's it called? Officiant.
Yeah.
And so everything written clearly by you guys was really special.
We didn't write any of her stuff.
Oh, you didn't? Did she write it?
She wrote all of that.
Well, she really put thought into it.
She did.
Like it was, it was wonderful.
We had our, who introduced us, her name is Stacy Murphy. We had her be our officiant.
Right.
And when we when I thought of the idea, I said, hey, Brad, what do you think? And he's like, perfect. And, you know, Brad, an action taker. He gets his phone out immediately. I don't even remember when this was. It was a long time ago. And immediately texts Stacy, hey, do you want to officiate our wedding? And she calls him or texts. I don't remember if they were on the phone or whatnot. Maybe they might have called. It might have been on the phone. And she's like crying because she's always wanted to officiate a wedding. Aww. And we had no idea. Like, we didn't have a clue. And so she really put thought into how to make it non-denominational, right? Yet still kind of spiritual, and bring in a little bit about me and a little bit about Brad and a little bit about how we came together and what she thought would happen when she introduced us. And what's really fascinating is she's known Brad longer than she's known me. He really supported her in her business and her exit. And then she knew me for a shorter period of time, but we spent a lot of time together in that shorter period of time. So she really got to know me very quickly, and it was a Robbins environment. So of course, anytime you're at a Tony Robbins event, you just like go really deep with people really quickly. And so she kind of has these like interesting viewpoints into both of us because she knew both of us before we were together. And then she's our friend. So she's known us together as well.
That's awesome.
So it's like a really interesting kind of cool person to just like have, you know, marry you. And she herself, I mean, she's just like an amazing, beautiful soul. And she's like, feels like really good energy to have marry us.
Yes.
So.
She set a really, really sweet and genuine and grounded tone. And like she inserted a lot of things like breathe in this moment. You know, like she would just like get everybody really present to like what we're doing here. And like I saw Brad take a bunch of deep breaths to like get in his body and stuff.
My buddy.
And I was like, yeah, that's so good. Because like I feel like it's hard to be present when you're like, I'm the bride and he's the groom and this is my wedding and this is happening, and like have your brain really be there during it rather than like everybody's staring at me and I'm standing here in a dress and you know, like all the just like chatter of our brains. So she did a really great job like getting us really connected and present to the moment. And you know, all the little stuff, it just made me giggle because, like, juniper was everywhere in your decor.
Literally
like,
everywhere. I love it.
I mean, from the signature mocktail that had her little face on the sign to being, like, a tiny little fondant dog coming out of your wedding cake was so fucking cute. It was just like, oh, my God, this is perfect.
Did you find the third one?
It's not coming to mind right now.
Not everybody found it. It was kind of an Easter egg.
Was it with the moped?
Nope.
Okay, I missed it.
If you, on the menu, if you flip the menu over,
the paw prints on the back.
There's a little trail of paw prints.
Yes.
Like on the back of like who turns over the menu to look, but like, you know, a couple people found it and like looked at me. Like, what is this? Like, I just wanted to find little like fun ways to sprinkle things in.
Yes.
So like even in my vows.
Oh.
Like there was some interesting little all outs. And then Stacy did it in her chat, in her, I don't know, what do you call it? Like script. Yeah. Her officiant script. She started talking about Whole Foods. Little did she know the Whole Foods that she was talking about, because me and her went to that Whole Foods. Me and Allie have been to a bunch of times. And and so she was talking about Whole Foods. I'm like turning around, looking at Allie, like, can you believe this shit? She's talking about our Whole Foods. Nice. So it was funny.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, and then you know, Junie was the star of the show. Also, our table was right in front of this outdoor fireplace, and Junie had an entire like mantle to herself, where she had the bed right in front of the fireplace, which just cozy and content as can be. Honestly,
apparently during dinner. I missed this completely. She started at one end of the table, walked under the table to everyone who had steak and said, hello.
Yeah.
And I had at least 3 people say, yeah, I gave her some steak.
Nice. So
I was like, well, I guess she got hers. I completely missed it. She didn't come talk to me. She's busy talking to everybody else, but... Yeah, it was. Funny. We always joke like it's her wedding, but like it was really her day.
Yeah. So she was just. I mean, It just, again, felt like home. Like the fact that your dog is sitting in front of the fireplace by the table. Like it just kind of felt very homey and intimate and wonderful. And then, the name tag thing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
So-
which you helped me with, so thank you for that.
Yeah. I mean, so you got the idea to assign an animal that fit each guest. And you spray painted them silver, so they were very classy animals.
These are just plastic animals from Amazon.
Literally,
But yeah, I just spray painted them silver.
And they looked classy
They
and
looked
amazing. But like it was hilarious because it was a super conversation starter for
Yeah.
everybody to be like, what animals you get? Like, wonder why? Like,
Yeah.
what do you connect with about that animal? And everybody was like chatting about it right away.
Which
so.
Brad, I don't know if I told you this, but Brad thought I made that up.
Yeah, I don't know why.
I think I don't know.
He thought you picked it randomly?
Yeah, he thought I was making that up when I said that, and apparently he told his half of the table like it's just a Rorschach test or something. I don't even understand really. And so I was like, you know what? I should just like do.
You said in your welcome speech,
I
assigned it to you for a reason.
He
so
thought
figure it
I
out.
was being funny. Like he thought I was being funny or something. I was like, no.
I did
And then
that.
I told him, I was like, and then he was like, well, what about this person? I named why, and he was like, oh, and I was like, literally, everybody was there for a reason. So
Yes.
I was like, maybe I should just type it out and send it to everybody in an email.
Like, thanks for coming, and here's why everybody was an animal.
Maybe I'll put it in their thank you note.
Oh yeah.
Here's
There
why
you
you were a lion.
go.
Yeah, that's what I'll do.
There you go.
Anyway, but it was fun, and I saw that on Pinterest,
Mm-hmm.
and I just was like, I love that, and I did.
It's super cute.
Yeah.
So yeah, all the little things were just awesome.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Yeah.
And what did you think? I feel like when you host your own wedding, you start thinking back to weddings that you'll definitely notice it going
Moving
forward.
forward.
But like, do you feel like you've like learned something about other weddings that you've been to or appreciated something different about weddings from the past?
Well, I've really only been to your wedding.
Really?
Yeah, I've been to one other. Well, actually, no, I did go to one other wedding when I was 21.
Oh, okay.
And then I went to another wedding when I was like 12.
Well, so then what did you see
so
about
I've
my
been
wedding?
to like 3 weddings too in my adult life.
Yeah.
Both were much bigger than mine.
Mm-hmm.
One I went to in college was like your classic hotel ballroom, Italian. She wore a ball gown. There was a dessert table in Pittsburgh, like freaking so many people.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I did go to another one. I don't know. Now they're starting to come back to me, my college ones. But yeah, I mean, with yours, I think I remember you talking about like the DJ a lot. I remember like that was like a thing, was like we have to get all the music right and the DJ a lot. And I was like, literally my DJ, I sent him like 5 songs and I was like, acoustic pop, have fun. And I remember thinking like, well, Ellen did a lot more. Like, is mine going to be okay that I didn't do that? And like our DJ was okay. Like he wasn't like bumping, but we weren't, that's not really the vibe of the thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I think I prioritized the right amount because had I spent more time there, I wouldn't have spent time on what was more important to me, which was the table setting and the cake and the vibe and, the arch and like those things.
See, that's really interesting because like I noticed that about you with like your table setting and all the different like elements that were present. And I remember being like, I could not care less about table setting. Like, obviously I wanted to look good, but like day of coordinator, please figure that out. Cause like, I don't care. I wanted to pay attention to the music and whatever other else things, but you have to pick and choose,
And I think that makes sense for the size of wedding that you had because you knew we would be dancing. Cause with that many people, like, it makes sense that everybody would be dancing with the number of people you had are in our age range. Right. So versus mine, like I knew we were going to be sitting down at a table for most of the night. Yeah. So like,
also another detail I loved was your, what do they call the gift thing that you give the guests at the end? That's like the souvenir. Yeah. The wedding favor that you gave us, like to have and to hold if you get a little cold, and those like little shawls,
little
and
pashminas.
Stuff. So cute. Loved that.
Yeah. So it was a good time.
It was a great time.
It was a good time. like the morning of, I was not a bridezilla.
No, not in the slightest.
But I definitely had a stress moment.
Mm.
I had a stress moment. I think you were there. And
Oh, yeah.
it was because I didn't have a timeline
Mm-hmm.
and there was no clock.
Yeah.
So there was no clock in the bridal suite, and then I didn't have a timeline. So I was constantly like, oh my God, what time is it? Oh my God, what time is it? Oh my God, how much time do we have left? When you have...
Was there no timeline made, or you just
No,
didn't have
there
a
was a
printout?
timeline. I just didn't have one.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that in the wedding industry, that's probably how things go, because they don't want the bride stressing over the timeline.
Right, sure.
But I was like, I need to know what's happening when,
Mm-hmm.
because there's so many moving parts. And, we had the hair and makeup person, and I was like, I don't know if she understands the timeline. Like, what are we clocking the way we're supposed to be clocking here?
Mm-hmm.
And then also the other thing about that, the hair and makeup person, she did wonderful job, but she set up in two places.
Mm-hmm.
So like she occupied double the space.
Yeah.
So that means I had less room for pictures. I had less room for you guys to spread your stuff out, because there was you, me, Allie, Mom. There's 4 people in there, and
At
the
least,
dog.
and then people kept coming.
And then
to
people
hang
kept
out.
coming in to hang out. And I was just like, there's not enough space. Everyone's stuff is everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot see where my things are.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I don't know what freaking time it is.
Yeah.
So I definitely had like a bit of a stress mode. I would think I was more like, up until a certain point, like when it was me and my mom and you, I was like so chill.
Yeah.
And then once it got closer to time, I just got like super stressed really fast.
Yeah. Yeah.
So...
And I think you named it in the moment. You were like, this room is too, like, my environment needs to be cleaner for my brain to be cleaner. So I'm just going to tidy for the next 5 minutes and nobody talk to me.
Yeah, that's basically what I said. It's like, let me just
clean.
And
then that helped a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the other thing was just like talking, like noise, like me and noise. I really struggle with noise. It was honestly the hardest thing about being in the classroom for me.
Mm-hmm.
Was the kids would just talk. Even if it was
Constant noise.
productive talk,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
it was like I would go home and like sit in a closet by myself, because I was just like so much noise. And I felt like the same thing was like I didn't have a minute to myself all morning.
Yeah.
Like I wish I would have said, okay, everyone go out there and just like give me 10 minutes alone.
Mm-hmm.
Not because I don't love you, but just because like I just need to be quiet
Yeah.
for like just a minute. Yeah. But other than that, nothing crazy.
I wanted to follow up to see how things went with your parents' cake topper, because that was the only other piece of drama of the day.
Yeah. So my mom I wanted my mom's cake topper on the cake, and my mom and dad's from their wedding, and she brought it in a bubble mailer wrap. And I thought that it was taped and I had to open the tape. And as I did, I tipped it to, open the tape, but it turns out the other side was actually open. It's a cake topper, which was ceramic, fell out, smashed.
Only the dad one smashed.
Only the dad one smashed. So we picked up all the pieces and got someone to get us a super glue. But the super glue person was like 30 minutes late. And when you're 30 minutes late at a wedding, it's like actually really stressful. So if you're out there and you're listening and you're part of a thing coming up, just be there 30 minutes early, please.
Mm-hmm.
Just save everybody help. And then from there, I don't know what happened. It didn't get put back together all the way.
I saw someone trying to do it. Someone, I don't know if she was on your team or with the venue or whatever. Someone was trying to do it during your ceremony.
And I remember someone, like I think Allie said, all of the pieces are in this bag. And I don't know what happened to that bag. I don't know if my mom has that bag right now, or if I don't.
Do you still have the cake?
Know what happened? I don't know. Like, I don't know. I just know, like, once it was time to leave, it was over. It's like everybody pack up and get that shit in the car and go out. And I did not pack that, and I don't think I picked that up. And so I don't know where it is.
Your parents probably have it.
They probably have it. But my mom was like, whatever, I don't care.
I was honestly pretty impressed with her, like, being chill about it, because I feel like when that was like made aware to everybody that was her cake topper, like the makeup artist was like, oh shit, like she was like scared that we're gonna have a Momzilla moment of just like, you broke it, and Like, that's what a lot of your people kept saying over and over again, was like, this group is chill.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, yeah, we're chill. It's fine. Like,
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
I mean, I get that it would be sad for her that
Yeah.
that broke, but she didn't make a thing out of it, which was appreciated.
Yeah, she was super chill. She was super chill the whole day.
Mhm.
And honestly, I think my mom's dress might have been one of my favorite parts.
Yeah.
My
She
mom
looked
wore this
incredible.
like off the shoulder, glittery purple, floor length A-line gown.
Elegant gown.
And it was cool because in the light, it would kind of look blue and then it would kind of look pink, but the actual glitters themselves were purple. And it just like kind of changed color throughout the night as the sun went down.
Yeah.
And
It was gorgeous.
we always make this joke with my mom. My dad specifically is like, I got to put a flag on you because she's so short. You know, she's like 5'1" or something. And we can never find her. She's always lost in a crowd. We can never find her anywhere she is. And so we're always like, oh, we're going to put a big old flag on you so we can find you in the grocery store. And well, you didn't miss my mom. You could find her because she was like a disco ball.
She looked amazing.
So,
And she was so happy.
yeah.
She had a good time.
Yeah, I think she had a good time too. I think she had a good time.
And then your speeches. So who?
Oh, the toasts.
The toasts.
The toast, yes. So my dad gave a toast that was very sweet and funny
Dramatic, yeah.
and dramatic. So he tried out a new bit where anytime he would move the paper, he had like 4 or 5 sheets of paper. So anytime he would flip the paper, he would say drama and then let the paper fall to the ground.
Yeah, fling it into the
fling
air.
the paper into the air. And it was quite funny.
It was.
And then Jack did a good job too. He came up to me after the wedding and he was like, so I forgot a whole paragraph of my speech. It's like, I was so nervous. I just skipped right over it, but I'll read it to you later.
Oh.
Okay. So he read it to me the next day, which was funny. And then your toast, of course, which I thought was hilarious and everyone else was utterly confused by. But I thought it was awesome.
I literally was like, I'm only speaking to the Jontes here. I want Jasmine to cackle and I want the Jontes to laugh. And they are my audience because they're going to understand what I'm talking about.
And we did.
And you did.
And everyone else.
I mean, to be
Whatever.
fair, a lot of people came up after me saying like, your speech was hilarious. Like, and to give a little context.
Yes, please do.
What was it about? Do you want me to tell you?
It was about poop.
It was about poop. And it really didn't start there. It's so funny because I was just reflecting on, memories and significant moments in our friendship and our life. And it just the theme that presented itself to me was gut. Like I was like, it was all about gut of like, gut and intuition and poop because you and I bonded in our 20s over gastrointestinal shit that literally was what led us to entrepreneurship.
Yes, it's true.
And I was just like, well, the theme is yelling at me and I just have to go with my gut here and just go with it. And the speech was laced with, poop puns and
loved the puns.
A lot of puns and
so many puns.
I know that's your humor.
That's my love language, puns.
And the fact that Junie's been, we've been focused on Junie poop recently.
We have been.
And your poop is just always like the barometer of how stressed you are.
It's true.
We talk about poop
It's
a lot
true.
in our friendship. So, I was just like, I'm just going to go with what I think is what you want to hear, like what you're going to love. And then people did come up to me and they're like, that was hilarious and crazy. And my 2024 bingo card did not have poop themed wedding toast on it, but
here we are.
To you. Yeah.
Yes.
So
yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
It was really good. So love the toasts.
Yeah.
Love the toasts. The cake. The cake. So we had the little Junie fondant on the cake. For the cake itself, 2 tiers. One was the chocolate cake, chocolate icing, raspberry jam. The other one was vanilla cake, vanilla icing, almond cream, berry jam. And votes are in. I've only had 2 people tell me they liked the chocolate more than
Matt
the vanilla.
said he liked the chocolate.
Okay,
more.
3 people like the chocolate more than the
which I'm surprised by because
vanilla.
normally he likes vanilla more than chocolate.
And that's what's interesting is all the people who don't usually like chocolate liked it, and all the people who don't usually like vanilla liked it.
Yeah.
It was bizarre.
Yep. The vanilla won for me as well. It was like sweeter in an interesting way. Like, I don't know. Like, I think that's what Matt and I were talking about it after. I was like, I'm so shocked that I'm the chocolate person and I like the vanilla, and you're the vanilla person, you like chocolate. And he's like, yeah, just like the chocolate was just like the right amount of
rich.
Yeah. And I was like, but that's sweet, vanilla. It was just delicious.
So good.
And for a gluten-free vegan cake, like out of this world.
I know. I wanted to do this too. I don't know if I told my mom this, but I waited for her to eat cake, and I was like, "What do you think?" She's like, "Great." And I'm like, "It's gluten-free and it's vegan." And she was like, "It is?" And I'm like, "Yes," because I don't remember when, but she was like, "Well, you're gonna get a regular cake, right? And then just have your vanilla gluten-free one for you."
No,
and
it's your wedding.
Sure, Mom.
Yeah.
And then no.
Yeah. Yeah, no. If you had, I would have been very annoyed that like, you wouldn't be able to eat your own damn wedding cake. Like
she was like, just get yourself a small one or whatever. And I'm like, no, like there is a way to do this and be tasty. And so that's what
they do it on Bake Off. People do gluten-free baking and vegan baking on Bake Off. It's doable.
Totally doable. Totally a thing.
I'm glad for you.
So yeah, it was real tasty. It was real tasty. But and then the other food is just the rehearsal dinner and brunch. So shout out to Chef Tiffany in San Diego, because it was like farm to table.
So good.
Fresh. I mean, she was like, yeah, this was fished out yesterday.
Wow.
Like that. She's like, I picked this lettuce from the garden this morning.
Really?
No kidding.
I didn't know that.
And there's all these people, like a lot of like Brad's guys who were there were like, dude, that salad is the best salad I've ever had.
It was a really good salad.
It was literally like lettuce.
Wow.
And it was just because it had been picked that day.
That's impressive.
So good.
And is there anything you would do differently?
I kind of wish I would have been a little more intentional about pictures that I wanted. I gave them like a Pinterest board with like, I don't know, 10 pictures on it. Like I really didn't do a lot of research or time or whatever into pictures. And I think it was just because I had to let something go. Like I just had to, and the truth was the pictures I outsourced it. Like, but there was no one who was doing place cards for me. I had to do those. There was no one who was doing, signage and menus and all of that. Like I had to do all that stuff. So I do kind of wish I had done that a little bit better. We did get a sneak peek of the pictures back today, and they're beautiful. They're great. They're amazing. And I'm like, they're not super cohesive. And I think that's just because I didn't have a very good vision for it. And
cohesive
I also
meaning, what do you mean?
I mean like some kind of just look like your typical what every person has at their wedding. Some of that, and then just like, the dress hanging up.
Yeah.
Like it just looks like what everyone else has. When there was spots in that bridal suite that like could have been better. Like we could have better used that space.
Yeah. I think the photographer was definitely struggling with our space for the exact same reason that you said, that like the makeup artist and hair artist and all of our stuff was just absolutely everywhere. And so she had like pretty limited little spots that she used to
her advantage.
Yeah, the fullest extent. But yeah, she didn't have many options.
Yeah. So I kind of wish I would have said, okay, makeup artist, contain yourself. So we have some other space to do some other photos. And I also think that because of that, when it was time to do pictures, like I wasn't in the right mental headspace because I was like, I still don't know what time it is.
Yeah.
So on the flip side, however, Brad's boys photos came out.
They did 1 million, I heard.
They did like an hour of just a dude's photo shoot. And like the ones that have come back are awesome, but there's still a couple in there. I'm like, and maybe it's just the creative director in me from all the brand shoots and stuff, but I'm just like, nope, I would turn this like that. I would, like I'm more critical of it, I think.
Well, also like the men do so much less to get ready
It's true.
That, like, they had so much more time, and like you didn't. Like, between trying to fix the cake topper to like your hair, your makeup, your dress, your, like, you know, the first look with your dad, and like just like a million steps that he didn't have to take. Yeah. They had ample time to just be creative and make it up and figure it out. Whereas if you hadn't planned it in advance and like given her a set list of like, do all these millions of shots in this particular way, she was just making it up in the few minutes that you guys had to put it together.
So maybe I would have tried to do something a little differently there. I also would have been more communicative with the wait staff because our wait staff was not great.
Matt had a moment where he almost yelled at the wait woman who was waiting on you, because at one point you asked, could you bring me a mocktail?
Yes.
And she said, oh, you can go and get it at the bar. Yeah. And Matt almost like yelled at her, like, go get her a fucking drink. Like, she is literally the bride. Go get her a drink.
There were a couple people who almost yelled at that moment.
Yeah.
And in the moment, I was so present. I was like,
yeah, you let it roll off.
I was like,
okay, if she's not letting it.
And my dad was like already out of his chair. He's like, I got it. And I was like, okay, thanks. You know,
yeah, like, but still, oh my God.
Yeah. And then there was also something she said too.
The same one?
Yes.
So that
there was also something she said to, she was passing hors d'oeuvres, and someone was like, no, thanks, I'm good. And she's like, I don't know why you're saying no to this. This is actually really delicious and you should try some. And so then my mom heard it, and my mom goes over and she's like, I'll try one. And I think what it is, you know, this was at a golf course. My dad is a former food and bev director at country clubs, and they work with international talent and do exchange programs. And you can see on her name tag, she's from Romania or Russia or something. And so I think it was a lot of cultural, like she just didn't, and she was new apparently, and she just didn't.
That was obvious.
She just didn't know what to do. She didn't know how to be. She just culturally didn't know what's going on. Like,
I mean, surely somebody told her, like, direct the guests to the bar to get drinks.
Exactly.
But that does not apply to the people who created the event.
Yes. So I'm definitely going to send an email about it. Not because I'm, like, upset or mad, but just because.
Offer more training to this person and your people in the future.
Yeah. Like, if they're new, don't put them. If you have an intimate wedding and there are 2 servers and, like, Brad and I had a server, and then she was supposed to serve the rest of the table. So if that's the case, don't put a brand new person on that. And then the other thing was the food was just slow, just really slow. I mean, like, I've waitered dozens and dozens of weddings. Like, they were doing something wrong. Like, I don't know if he was making it to order, but like protocol is typically, you make whatever it is, you put it in the hot box, you roll the hot box to the door, and then you just flood the table so everybody's. Right. But I mean, when it
they kind of came out, they like didn't give it out at the same time.
Slow. Yeah. Like I got my entree, and I was finished by the time my brother got it.
Right.
Like.
And like, if you didn't get different meals, like different meals came out at different times, and even those came, like individual servings came out at different times. It was just
very odd. So that was another thing, is I didn't think I had to manage that. Like I kind of just assumed that's something that would be handled and taken care of, and it wasn't. And so, you know, live and learn, I guess.
I mean, that shouldn't have been something you needed to instruct anybody on. Like the feedback you give hopefully will help future events and brides and people. But that was surprising that like, it just felt like they haven't done this before. It's like, I was like, literally what this is for.
This whole venue is just weddings. It's called Weddings at Twin Oaks.
Yes.
Like,
yes. Yeah.
So,
yep.
Yeah.
I'm glad you will give them some feedback.
Yeah. I think I also just think like I always said I want a week at the beach with my family, and I'm really glad I did that. Like I'm really glad
you did that too.
We took a week. We got a really beautiful house. It was great location, you know, that my family could, you know, I had my brother and sister-in-law and my mom and my dad stay there. We had a friend stay there one night. I'm so glad I did that, because I think I mean, honestly, if we had like had the actual wedding on a deck there on Thursday,
Yeah.
like it probably would have been fine.
Yeah.
Like, I don't, you know, like
Yeah.
I'm not saying I regret the what we did with the actual day of, but
Yeah, you could have done what we did for the rehearsal dinner, like catered food, stand on sunset on the deck in a dress, and it would have been gorgeous.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I said, your wedding was amazing, so no changes. But yeah, it was that beautiful of a place to be. And it was, I mean, I'm really glad, because I remember you were a little bit torn about venues early on, where you were like, maybe Sedona, maybe, you know, like you were thinking about a more local venue. And I was like, but you always said you wanted a week at the beach. And I'm just so glad that you like fulfilled your vision, because that was the one thing that you dreamed about, you know, years ago, about like what you wanted your wedding to be. So
that's what it was. Just me hanging out with my homies, my besties. And
you did it.
That was it. And, you know, Brad and I always said, Brad didn't say, I always said, I was like, I would love if deals were done at our wedding. And let me just say, deals have been done.
Really?
Because of our wedding, and it's less than a week.
What deals? I mean, now I have to know, like, who connected
like
who?
There were some connections that happened that got people funding. There were, like sales calls are going on. Potential business partnerships are activating.
I mean, I'm not surprised, because honestly, Matt and I had to like, one of the reasons why I went down to the deck to sit with your family was because so many like people were networking, that I was like, I am not here for this. I'm going to go sit with the Jontes and chill, because I was not going to network. But hey, more power to them.
But like, they don't even see it as networking.
Fair.
They're just like, this is my mission. This is what I do in life. What do you do in life? What's your mission? Like, how can we, you know?
And they were like making crypto.
And it was like, you know, I bet people fucking made money.
I'm sure.
Because of, you know, so I think that's super cool. And at one point, I don't know who it was. I think it was Jack and someone else. I can't remember the conversation, but there was a conversation between two guys, and one said, you know, everyone here at this table, like Brad has helped every single person here at this table, like in some way, shape, or form. And the other person said, yeah, it's like he's Batman and we're Gotham City.
That's awesome.
So I think it was, you know, for Brad, as someone who has a core wound of abandonment, like, and like he doesn't belong, you know, really, it's really the belonging, like to have all those people show up and like fully embrace it and be like, yeah, man, I'm in for pictures. Where do you want me? When do you want me? What do you need? I got you. Like, I think it like honestly kind of healed something for him.
That's so good.
Yeah. So if you're listening to this and you came to our wedding, thank you.
Yeah. Everyone was awesome. Yeah.
Good crew.
And clearly mission driven. Like I'm giving them a little flack for networking, but everybody was passionate about what they did. And that being in a room full of people who are passionate entrepreneurs is so invigorating and like fulfilling to be a part of. So yeah, you guys did good with your people. You built a world full of awesome humans.
We tried.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks for listening.
Yeah.
You have any questions, or if you're planning a wedding in San Diego and you want the easy button,
you've got it for them.
Just give me a call.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening.
Right. See you later, mother puppers.